Welcome to part 2 of this CODM tutorial. In this video we will learn how to set up the keyboards and add stops. The video is divided in chapters which you can navigate with the links in the video description below. Here is the plan for our organ. I added different stops from different organs in order to be able to show the many possibilities of the CODM. All these stops come with their own difficulties and ways to set up, which I will explain in this tutorial. But let's start with setting up our keyboards. As we can see, our organ has only one manual, the swell, and a pedal right now. So we have to add a first manual and a third manual. We do that in the divisions table in our CODM file. Here is our division table. There's one division, the pedal, and one division, the swell. To make a new division, we just copy and paste one of the existing divisions and change the parameters. Let's duplicate the swell division by right-clicking it here and duplicate. Then we have already one extra division. We can also duplicate by marking the text, copy and paste in your text field here. So let's change the parameters of this division here, one of the swell copies. We start with the division code. For the division code we can look in the database table that we can find in the Design Tools tab in Hauptwerk. Divisions, division code. And here we can see the codes. Manual 1 has code 2, so that's the one we have to use now for our first manual. So let's change it to 2. We rename it to Manual 1. The short name, what's important to notice that is if we look in the database table again, we can see there's a maximum length of 5. Let's call it M1. The number of keys we want to extend to 61 keys from C to C. MIDI note number of first key should be 36. That's the MIDI note number of the lowest key on a standard organ keyboard. Accessible for MIDI input and output should be set to yes, since we want to attach a MIDI keyboard. The rest of the division table is mostly about the Win model and custom display. We will come back to these topics in a later video. Now we can set up our other keyboards in the same way. And here we have our 4 divisions. Let's save the file and open it in Hauptwerk to see how it looks like. And here you can see the 3 manuals with the right names. Now let's add some stops. To add stops we have to add ranks, stops and stop ranks. The ranks you can think of as the row of pipes in a real organ. The stops will be the physical knobs you will draw in a real organ, and the stop ranks will be the connection between the ranks and the stops. The example organ we are using already has stops from the Saint ends, which we are not going to use, so we can delete them. But we will keep 2 stops that we can use as template. We'll have to delete both the ranks, stops and stop ranks. So let's clean up our file by deleting the Saint ends stops we don't need. We'll go to the rank table. Here it is. The first rank, we can keep this one. And we might also keep one of the pedal stops. Then we will delete this one. And keep in mind that you have to mark from the opening tag through the hole to the closing tag. Delete this one. You can also delete the ranks directly from the tree view. So now we only have 2 ranks left. We'll have to find the stop table. which we'll find here. Just clean up the open spaces. Well, this stop we don't need. And we don't need this one. This one will keep, and this one will keep. These can go. And this one too. Now to the stop ranks already here. Lieblich gedacht is not necessary for us. This way is to go. This one I will keep again, and this one again. Clarinet goes away. And clear flute. There we have it. Now let's save the file and open it in Hauptwerk to see how it looks. As you can see, here are only the two stops left. When we use samples or images from another organ, we have to add the organ to the required installation package table. We want to add the principal 8 from the Friesach organ, so we'll have to add the Friesach organ here. We find the information we have to fill out here in the installation package definition file. So we'll have to find the installation package definition file for the Friesach organ. We will find it in the organ installation packages folder, and as we remember from the last video, the Friesach organ is in number 2213, and at the bottom we find the installation package definition file, and here's all the information we can copy and paste to our required installation package table. Let's just copy and paste from the St. Anne's organ and change the parameters to that for the Friesach organ. Then the installation package is 2213. The name is Friesach. The short name is also Friesach. Let's see package supplier ID 29 and the supplier name. And the minimum package version, that's the one we see here, 101. Let's save, and then we have our installation package in place. Then we can start adding the principal 8 from the Friesach organ. Let's go to the rank table and use this rank as a template and change the parameters. The rank ID number is a number you can choose yourself. It's smart to have a good system so you can easily find them back. I call it number 10. The name, manual. It's always good to have the manual number on this too. Principal 8. Number of pipes 61. We want our organ to have 61. Keys or number of pipes. MIDI note number of first pipe. I think it should rather be called MIDI note number of first key, because this parameter defines the MIDI note number of the lowest key you want your rank to start with. This would normally be 36, but in case you have a rank that's divided in bass and discant, you want your discant rank to start on, for example, 60. For this rank, we'll keep it at 36. Is percussive? No. Samples installation package ID is now 2213. The main sample file folder. This is the installation package folder that contains the main sample files. Let's find the installation package folder for Friesach. We'll find it here in number 2213, as we know. Here we see that every stop has its own folder. It can be quite different how the sample files folder are organized within the installation packages for different organs, as we will see when we're going to add stops from other organs. But now we will open the Principal 8 folder. Here we see several folders. A0 is the main sample files folder. The folders starting with R are the release sample folders. If you're not sure which folder is the main sample folder, just open one of the folders and listen to one of the files. As we can do here. The typical main file. If you see here, a typical release sample file. Now we have to copy the name of the main sample folder, which is the name after the 2213/. Copy and paste it into our CODM document. Release sample file folder. This is the folder for the main release samples. The R0 folder is the one that contains the main release samples. Also here we can copy and paste the folder name. Paste it in our document. If there are no release samples, you leave it blank, like it was here in the example organ. Now we'll have to make the coding right with an opening tag and a closing tag. Then we'll have to remove this one here, add a slash here and remove the one here, then it's right. There are also parameters for short and medium release samples. That makes 3 different release samples in total. The Friesach organ, however, has 4 different release sample folders, but the CODM can only specify 3 different release samples. In my experience, you get the best results using R0 for the main release samples, R1 for the short release samples with a maximum node length of 200 milliseconds, and R2 for the medium with a maximum node length of 500 milliseconds. This has been the case for all the Piotr Grabowski organs I tried in the CODM. Now let's copy and paste the short node release samples folder name. R1, there it is, with 200 milliseconds. To our medium. R2. Medium release nodes with 500 milliseconds. This parameter determines which sample files should be used by which key. This will be covered in the next video. We can leave this parameter normally at 0. I refer to the database table for more information. These 2 parameters are settings for surround. I only use stereo output, and in that case these parameters will not have any effect as far as I know. I will not cover these 2 elements for now. For further information you can look in the database table or use the example organs as reference. You will also find some examples in Carlos Lara's guide. You will find a link to this guide in the video description below. These 2 parameters are for the wind supply. The division code parameter will determine in which division the rank is placed. It will then follow the wind model settings for that division. This is only about the wind supply, not about from which manual the rank can be played. That will be set up in the stop rank table. A rank can be played from another manual, but it will follow the wind supply of the division determined here. The maximum flow randomization, I will set it at the CODM default value of 1.5 for now and come back to it later when covering the wind model. These 2 settings will of course have no effect when the wind model is disabled. If you decide to disable the wind model in the division table, these 2 parameters should be kept blank. The level, this is the volume of the rank. The parameters in the CODM only have to be specified for the lowest and highest node, MIDI node 36 and 96. The level of the CODM is mostly lower than that of the original organs. I would start setting it to 0. The base output pitch. This is a very important setting. It determines the pitch of the rank. It can also be used to repitch a rank, as we will see with one of the other stops we will add to our organ later. If we look in the database table, we see some examples and a good explanation of how to calculate. Our principal 8 foot should use number 8. It's already at 8, so we can leave it as it is. Hauptwerk can do some random tuning error to make the organ sound more realistic. The default setting is 0.25, so we will start with that. Reeds typically would have a higher number, noises should be at 0. You can use the example organs as reference. At the bottom we find the reverb tail truncation. We will set this to 1, which means there is no reverb tail truncation. For more information, I refer to the database table. The rest of the parameters in the rank table are for the wind model, tremulant and swell. We will look into these subjects in later videos. Let's add a stop for the principal 8. For that we'll have to go to the stop table in our CODM file. Let's use this stop as template. The stop code. Here we give the stop its unique number. This number will also define which division it will be played from. Let's look in the database table. Stop codes. As you can see, all the stops for the pedal starts with 20. All the stops for manual 1 starts with 21, so our stop should start with 21. Let's name it 2101. The stop name. This is a name you choose yourself. It's used for your own reference. We'll call it manual 1 principal 8. It's always smart to have the manual number in the name too, so it's easier to find back to it. The next row of parameters is for custom display, which we will cover later. The display name is the name displayed on the CODM default controls page. So right here, principal 8. We keep the rest of the parameters at the default value. Most of them are quite self-explainable, but you can also look it up in a database table for more detailed information. Adding a stop rank. The stop is only the knob or switch on our virtual organ. The stop rank table will connect the stop to the right rank. So we go to the stop rank table and we'll change this one to our principal 8. The name. Here we can choose again a name you want yourself. It's only used for your own reference. So we'll call it Man1 principal 8. The stop code is of course the stop code we made for the principal 8 stop, and that was 2101. The rank type code should be kept at 1. The rank ID, here we specified the rank number. The principal 8 in our organ had number 10. This parameter should normally be at 0. Then the rank will be played at the original pitch. In some cases you can use this to repitch the rank, but we will not use it that way. We will come back on how to transpose or repitch a rank in the next video. MIDI note of first key is of course 36, our lowest key on the organ. The number of keys should be 61 for our organ. The rest of the stop action table should be kept at the default values as you can see them here or as described in the database table. So now we have connected our stop number 2101 to rank number 10. Let's save the file and open it in Hauptwerk. We will open our organ from the Design Tools menu, as usual. Now let's talk a little bit about this window. It's very important to check this box when we make changes to ranks or images. If we don't do that, Hauptwerk will not regenerate the file and don't get the changes. And here we see our principle 8. Rank enabled, yes. And here it's in our stop list. Let's engage the stop and check if there's sound. And we have our first stop in our organ. Right now it sounds quite low, and as mentioned before, the sound level of the CODM organs are often lower than that of the original organs. But we can change the level in the audio panel for now. And later we might want to change the level in the CODM file.